The galaxy was wide and full of whispers. Across the shimmering networks of trade routes and military corridors, stories traveled faster than starships. Most were exaggerations. Some were lies, but a few were terrifying truths. In the heart of the Xirian Empire, no one spoke louder than the scouts and spies of Queen Xira. She ruled with sharp claws and sharper intellect, her mind a labyrinth of strategy. Her empire stretched across hundreds of worlds, each bound by fear and obedience. Yet, even she could not ignore the persistent stories reaching her throne. Humans, a scout reported one morning, bowing deeply before her. His multifaceted eyes reflected panic and awe in equal measure. They are remarkable. Fleet after fleet, planet after planet, defeated without surrender. Citizens call them legends, but they are real. Shira's many eyes narrowed. Legends, she repeated, her voice a low, vibrating hum. Legends do not threaten me. They do not take worlds from under my claws. Show me proof of their existence. The scout hesitated. Our intelligence confirms a human strike team is moving through Sector Vi-13. They plan to... Enough. The queen waved a clawed hand. Humans are fragile. They die easily. Their weapons are primitive. Their ships crumble against real firepower. I have no time for fairy tales. But even as she dismissed the report, a flicker of curiosity stirred. For centuries, the Xirian Empire had dominated every known species. Weak planets bent to their will. Rebellions were crushed before sparks could ignite. And yet humans seemed different. Far from the capital, aboard the human vessel Resolute, Captain Elias Kor studied the star charts. His crew moved around him with quiet efficiency, each one a master of their craft. Humans were few in number, yes, but their strength was not measured in numbers or raw power. It was measured in ingenuity, courage, and unity. Captain, Lieutenant Mara called, her voice calm but tense. We've entered Xirian space. Sensors detect heavy patrols ahead. Elias's eyes flicked to the display, showing hundreds of alien warships scattered across the sector. He nodded slowly. Good. That means they care enough to watch us. That also means we have an opportunity. Prepare for stealth approach. Keep sensors down and shields low. They'll underestimate us, Mara blinked. Underestimate, Captain. They have a fleet. We have 10 ships. This is exactly why it will work, Elias interrupted, smiling faintly. They don't know what humans can do. They never do. Back in the Xirian Empire, Queen Xira convened her war council. Her advisors were nervous, circling her throne like cautious predators. Your Majesty, if these humans are truly as capable as the reports claim, we may... Reports are stories. My empire has never failed, she said sharply. Do not speak nonsense in my hall. I will see these humans myself, and I will decide if they are worth my attention. But even as she dismissed them, Xira ordered her best scouts to track the approaching human fleet. There was an instinct, deep and unwelcome, that told her she should not entirely ignore these creatures. Meanwhile, the humans navigated asteroid belts and debris fields, their movements precise and deliberate. They were smaller and slower than the alien patrols, but their approach was calculated. Instead of charging in, they used the environment as a weapon. Asteroids became cover, debris became shields, and their small fleet, though seemingly vulnerable, moved like a shadow, unpredictable and silent. On one of the patrolling alien ships, Commander Thack observed the human fleet with growing unease. Captain, they are strange. Their formation changes constantly. They are not like any species we've faced. The captain's mandibles clicked nervously. They are weak. They cannot survive in our space for long. Perhaps a few kills will... They adapt too quickly, Thack interrupted. Every tactic we try, they counter immediately. Every trap they evade, I have never seen anything like it. Back on the Resolute, Elias watched the alien fleets through his tactical console. Mara, he said, pointing to a cluster of enemy ships, see that? They expect us to react the way most species would. They expect fear, hesitation. We will give them neither. Mara shook her head, both frustrated and impressed. You really believe we can get through that patrol? Elias smiled calmly. Not believe. No. Humans always find a way. Word of the humans spread quickly among the Xirian ranks. Rumors, as they often do, grew with every retelling. Some described humans as monsters with unstoppable weapons. Others claimed humans could survive a direct attack from a dozen star cruisers. No one truly knew the truth, but curiosity mixed with fear, and it reached even the queen. Xira stood on the highest balcony of her throne room, gazing at the holographic map of her empire. The human fleet was a tiny blip on the edge, almost insignificant. Yet the stories refused to die. Every encounter reported by scouts spoke of audacity, of humans surviving impossible odds, of humans winning battles through cleverness rather than brute strength. "They are only flesh and bone," she muttered, her voice echoing in the silent chamber. "They cannot be a threat." But a small part of her, the part that always calculated risk, knew better. Legends were not born from ordinary creatures. Legends survived because they had something others lacked. Something unpredictable, dangerous, and human. Meanwhile, on the Resolute, the human crew prepared for their first encounter with the alien patrols. Engineers checked their systems, pilots recalibrated sensors, and weapons officers ran simulations. Everything was ready. Elias stood alone for a moment, looking at the stars. "Humans are underestimated," he said softly. "And that is always our advantage." Mara approached quietly. "Captain, why do you always take the dangerous route? Why not avoid confrontation?" Elias turned, his expression serious. "Because confrontation is where humans shine. They see the impossible and think, why not? Every other species fears the challenge. We embrace it. That is what they do not understand. That is why legends call us unbeatable." The Resolute slipped past the first patrol, silent and undetected. The aliens thought they had vanished, but humans were already moving deeper into enemy territory, calculating their next move. Every step was precise. Every maneuver designed to confuse and unsettle the enemy. And all the while, Queen Jira watched. Her many eyes narrowed. She did not yet fear them. Not yet. But curiosity, that dangerous spark that often led to trouble, had taken root. For the first time in decades, she felt the stirrings of genuine uncertainty. If humans were as extraordinary as the stories claimed, they would arrive soon. And when they did, the Queen would have to see for herself whether these creatures were merely legends, or something far more dangerous. Far across the galaxy, a legend was moving. Small, tenacious, unpredictable, a human fleet led by Captain Elias Core would soon prove that stories were only the beginning, and that humans, underestimated by all, carried a spark the galaxy had never seen before. And so the stage was set. Two forces, ancient and powerful versus cunning and determined, were about to meet. One believed in their invincibility, the other in human ingenuity. The Queen dismissed them as legends, but legends have a way of arriving, whether you are ready or not. The void of space was silent, but tension crackled like static electricity. Captain Elias Core's fleet glided through the edge of Jirian space, moving like shadows among the stars. Each ship was small, fast, and seemingly fragile, yet each was packed with clever devices and human ingenuity. "Captain, sensors report alien patrols ahead," Lieutenant Mara said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes flicked to the display, tracing clusters of Zirian warships. Elias leaned over the console. "Good. That means they notice us. That means they will underestimate us. And underestimation is our advantage." The patrols ahead were massive, their ships shaped like jagged claws and bristling with weapons. To most species, this would be terrifying. But humans did not panic. Humans calculated. Humans adapted. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Elias ordered. "Remember, we do not fight them head-on. We move like water, around, under, between. Use the terrain." Mara nodded, impressed despite herself. "Captain, terrain? In space?" Elias grinned. "Asteroids, debris, grav fields. Every object is a weapon if you think like a human." The first patrol moved in formation, confident in their superior numbers. Their sensors were sharp, but they were designed for predictable tactics. Humans were never predictable. "Engage stealth mode," Elias commanded. His ship's hull shimmered as the cloaking fields engaged, blending the Resolute with the darkness of space. Small drones projected false images, confusing enemy sensors. The patrol ships, expecting fear, found only shadows and silence. "Captain, they're scanning intensely," Mara said. "They don't see us." "Exactly," Elias replied. "Let them look. Let them think we are weaker than we are. Humans always have the advantage when the enemy miscalculates." The Resolute and its escort slipped past the first patrol, moving through a dense asteroid belt. The aliens were focused on detecting large signatures, but humans used their small size and clever maneuvers to vanish and reappear unpredictably. Meanwhile, on the bridge of one alien ship, Commander Thak's mandibles twitched in irritation. "They are too clever," he said. "Every trap we set, they avoid. Every ambush they evade. How is this possible? The captain, his multifaceted eyes narrowing, growled. They are human. But humans are fragile. They cannot survive long. Patience. They will make a mistake. Patience was something humans did not rely on. They acted with precision and courage. Each movement was deliberate, calculated to turn enemy strength into weakness. Evasive pattern Delta 4, Elias ordered. His ship zipped through the gaps between massive asteroids using gravity wells to slingshot around patrol ships. One by one, the humans disrupted enemy sensors, caused minor collisions, and left confusion in their wake. Captain, Mara said, pointing to the display. They are pursuing us. They have realized we are here. Let them, Elias replied calmly. Humans fight best when the enemy thinks victory is assured. The alien patrols pressed forward, firing energy blasts and missiles. But humans were faster in thought and action. Small, nimble ships darted through debris, using reflective asteroids to hide and then strike from unexpected angles. Every alien attack was countered by improvisation. In orbit around Xerian space, Queen Xera watched the unfolding chaos through her orbital observatory. Her many eyes narrowed as reports streamed in. They are surviving, she said. Her voice, usually confident and commanding, carried a note of disbelief. The humans, they are evading my fleets. How is this possible? Her advisors whispered among themselves, hesitant to speak. Your Majesty, they are humans. They are clever and resilient. Enough, Xera snapped. I will see them for myself. Legends do not survive by hiding. Legends confront. Prepare my shuttle. I want to see these creatures up close. Back with the humans, Elias's fleet continued to weave through patrols. They disabled several small enemy vessels without causing mass destruction. A human tactic that emphasized precision and ethics even in combat. This surprised the aliens further. Captain, they expected us to destroy everything in our path, Mara observed. But we didn't. We just disabled their weapons and shields. They won't know what hit them, or that we are merciful. Humans are not only fighters, Elias said. We are thinkers, innovators, and yes, sometimes merciful. Mercy is power when your enemy cannot understand it. The humans approached the first real defensive perimeter of the Xerian Empire, a massive minefield surrounding a supply station. To any other species, this would have been a death trap. To humans, it was an opportunity. Scan the field for weak points, Elias ordered. Look for patterns. Mines are placed by logic, not creativity. Humans will find a path. Mara worked quickly. I've got it, Captain. A narrow corridor through the outer ring. We can slip through undetected if we maintain speed and precision. Elias smiled. Good, humans thrive on precision. Take the lead. The fleet maneuvered carefully, each ship moving as though it were part of a living organism. The mines were dodged, the patrols avoided, and the supply station remained untouched. No casualties. Humans had done what others could not, survive the impossible. In her observatory, Queen Xera's mouth opened slightly in surprise. They passed the perimeter, alive and untouched. Impossible. Her advisor leaned closer, whispering cautiously, Your Majesty. Humans are unpredictable. Their success may not be chance. Perhaps no silence, Xera interrupted. I will see them myself. Enough reports, enough whispers. Let me witness this human ingenuity firsthand. Elias knew they were close to the heart of Xerian space. Sensors picked up the alien capital in the distance. Massive, shimmering towers orbiting a planet rich in resources and defended by hundreds of ships. The humans were small and vulnerable in comparison, but their spirits were unbroken. Prepare for first contact, Elias said. Stay calm. Move carefully. And remember, humans are not just fighters. We are unpredictable, clever, and we never give up. The fleet moved forward, a tiny spear into the heart of an empire. Alien patrols tried to intercept, but humans continued to use clever tricks, decoy signals, sudden changes in trajectory, and feints that left the aliens confused. Finally, the humans reached the outskirts of the Xerian capital's orbital defenses. Massive warships blocked their path, firing beams that could destroy an entire human ship in seconds. But humans did not panic. They acted. Activate the grav sling, Elias commanded. His ship used the planet's gravity to slingshot behind a patrol fleet, emerging where no alien expected. Small human ships followed in perfect synchronization. Chaos erupted in the alien ranks. No one had expected humans to maneuver with such precision, courage, and creativity. Even the experienced Xerian commanders could not comprehend the sudden attack from an unseen angle. Queen Zira watched in shock as her fleets struggled to respond. They are clever, faster than anticipated, and fearless, incredible. How can such fragile beings achieve this? Her advisors looked uneasy. Your Majesty, they are humans. This is what we feared. Our reports were accurate. They are exceptional. Zira's eyes glinted with something she had not felt in years. Curiosity, not fear but fascination. She had dismissed humans as fragile, weak, and unimportant. Yet here they were, infiltrating her space, moving through impossible defenses and doing it all with skill, precision, and daring courage. Elias looked out at the alien capital, his mind already planning the next move. Humans did not back down from danger. Humans adapted. Humans thrived where others would die. And now, they were at the doorstep of the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The stage was set for the first real encounter. Humans would meet Xerian forces head-on, not as invaders seeking to destroy, but as equals navigating the impossible. And somewhere high above, Queen Zira would see them, not as myths, not as stories, but as real creatures with courage, ingenuity, and a spark that no empire could ignore. The legend of humans was about to be written in the stars. The human fleet hovered at the edge of the alien capital's orbit, small dots against the massive spires of Xerian engineering. Captain Elias Kor's ships were far outnumbered, but humans never relied on numbers. They relied on ingenuity, speed, and the ability to think differently. Captain, Lieutenant Mara said, pointing to the holographic map, the capital's orbital defenses are adapting. They're reorganizing patrols to trap us. Elias studied the display. Good. That means they are reacting predictably. Humans will exploit that. He turned to his crew. Prepare for the next phase. We are going in. Calculated, precise, and careful. Stay sharp. Stay human. The humans moved as a single unit, weaving between patrol ships, gravity wells, and energy fields. The aliens fired relentlessly, but each strike was met with quick maneuvers, reflective shielding, or sudden evasions. The humans seemed almost untouchable, not because they were invincible, but because they refused to act as expected. On the surface of the capital, Queen Zira watched, her many eyes narrowing. Her throne room was filled with advisors, each trying to anticipate the humans' next move. They are different, one whispered. They do not behave like any species we know. They are humans, Zira said, her voice cold but curious. That explains their audacity. That explains their persistence. And yet I am not impressed. Not yet. She activated her personal shuttle, a sleek vessel capable of moving faster than most human ships. I will see them for myself, she said. These creatures cannot be allowed to operate unchecked in my space. I will meet their leader. Let us see if the legend is true. Inside the Resolute, the crew prepared for the unknown. Sensors indicate a fast-moving shuttle approaching, Mara reported. It's unlike anything in our database. Elias smiled faintly. The Queen herself. Finally we meet. Maintain formation but do not panic. Humans have a way of turning fear into advantage. The shuttle approached, its hull gleaming under the light of the capital. It emitted a signal requesting a parley. A bold move from a ruler who had always demanded obedience. Elias activated a translator and responded. We accept. We will meet in orbit, unarmed and visible. Humans respect courage. Let's see if she does too. The alien shuttle docked with the Resolute and a hatch opened. Queen Zira stepped out, her presence commanding and terrifying. Her many eyes scanned the humans, and for the first time she felt a spark of caution. These were no ordinary beings. Captain Elias Kor, she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. I have watched your fleet navigate my defenses. You survive impossible odds. You are clever, yes. But are you truly capable? Elias stepped forward calmly, his posture straight. Your Majesty, humans are always capable. Not because we are the strongest, but because we do not accept limits. Every challenge is an opportunity. Zira's eyes narrowed. Bold words. Few species would dare speak to me in such a tone. We are human, Elias replied simply. We do not follow rules set by fear. We create our own path. A tense silence filled the chamber. Advisors shifted nervously. The Queen was known for her ruthlessness. Many believed she would strike without warning. But Elias did not flinch. He met her gaze steadily as if daring her to act. You have come far, humans, Zira said finally. Yet the real test lies ahead. Words and minor victories are one thing. True skill, courage, and loyalty. These I must see. She gestured, and a challenge was set. A series of trials inside the alien citadel, designed to test combat skill, strategy, and mental fortitude. The humans accepted without hesitation. The first trial involved navigating a labyrinth filled with alien guardians. Massive robotic sentries patrolled the corridors, attacking anything that moved. Most species would panic, but humans thrived on unpredictability. Divide into teams, Elias ordered. Use the environment. Think like humans. Observe, adapt, overcome. The humans split into small squads, moving silently and efficiently. They used shadows, reflective surfaces, and even their own sounds to mislead the robotic sentries. One by one, humans disabled the machines using clever improvisation rather than brute force. In the control room, Queen Zira observed through multiple feeds. Impressive, she murmured. They are not only clever, they are patient, calculating, and adaptive, and they work as a unit. Fascinating. The second trial tested loyalty and courage. Aliens had set up scenarios where team members were seemingly in mortal danger. Most species would abandon their companions to survive. Humans did not. Lieutenant Mara found herself surrounded by alien guards, trapped with no apparent escape. Her teammates coordinated silently, distracting the guards and creating openings. Together, they freed her without a scratch. Elias watched, satisfied. Humans survive not by avoiding risk, but by taking it together. That is strength. Queen Zira's many eyes widened in surprise. Loyalty, sacrifice, and teamwork. Qualities her empire rarely valued were evident in these humans. She had dismissed them as weak, yet they displayed qualities even her elite warriors lacked. The final trial was a direct test of combat and intellect. Humans were pitted against elite alien champions in an arena designed to kill. The aliens expected a straightforward fight. Humans delivered something else. Using their small size and ingenuity, they manipulated the arena's environment. They used shifting platforms, energy conduits, and gravity fields to their advantage. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. Humans did not overpower. They outsmarted. They did not destroy. They disarmed and neutralized. Elias faced the lead champion directly. The alien was massive, covered in armor, and confident in victory. But Elias did not fight as others would. He analyzed, predicted, and acted with precision. Within minutes, the alien champion was disarmed, restrained, and unharmed. A human victory without cruelty. Queen Zira leaned forward, astonished. They are extraordinary. Fragile yet fearless. Weak yet clever. No species should achieve this. She realized that humans had qualities that were alien to her empire. Ingenuity, courage, loyalty, and a moral code that guided their actions even in battle. They did not merely fight. They inspired, adapted, and overcame. Elias stepped forward, bowing slightly in respect. Your Majesty, humans are not perfect, but we are capable. We survive, we adapt, and we face impossible odds with courage. That is our nature. Zira remained silent for a moment, studying him. She had always believed that domination, fear, and brute strength were the keys to power. Humans challenged that notion simply by existing. You are remarkable, she finally said. I dismissed your kind as legend, yet legend has arrived before me. Her advisors gasped. Never had the Queen praised an enemy. Never had she admitted that a species could rival the Zirian Empire in skill and courage. Your fleet navigates my defenses, she continued. Your people overcome trials designed to destroy you. You fight not only with skill but with loyalty, ingenuity, and heart. Humans, perhaps legends, are not always myths. Elias inclined his head. We are not perfect, Your Majesty, but we are human. That is more than enough to survive, to succeed, and sometimes to thrive where others fail. Zira's eyes softened in thought. She had underestimated humans. She had assumed that fragile creatures could not survive in a galaxy ruled by power and domination, yet she had witnessed their true strength, adaptability, courage, intelligence, and moral resolve. A new respect stirred within her. The humans were not just survivors. They were warriors, thinkers, and something her empire had rarely encountered. Equals in ingenuity, if not yet in power. The first trials were over, but the real challenge was just beginning. Humans had proven they could survive and adapt. They had demonstrated qualities that no alien could predict or counter easily. And the Queen, who had dismissed them as fragile legends, now faced a choice: Recognize their strength or underestimate them again at her own peril. Elias turned to his crew, his voice calm but full of quiet pride. Humans have always been underestimated. Today proves what I have always known. When others see weakness, we see opportunity. When others fear, we adapt. And when others retreat, we advance. Mara smiled. Captain, do you really think she understands us? Elias looked toward the Queen, standing in silence, studying him and his crew. She understands something. Not everything. But enough to know humans are not like any other species she has faced. The alien citadel was massive, a fortress of glimmering towers, energy fields, and patrolling drones. Yet the human fleet had penetrated far deeper than anyone in the Xerian Empire expected. Captain Elias Kor stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking out at the citadel below. The humans had faced impossible odds, yet they were alive, unbroken. And ready for the next challenge. Captain, sensors indicate several elite alien squads moving to intercept us, Lieutenant Mara reported. They know we're here. Elias nodded. Good, let them come. Humans thrive when the enemy believes victory is assured. Prepare for engagement. Outside, small human ships darted through the gaps between alien patrols, using debris and shadows as shields. They were nimble, precise, and unpredictable. Every move was calculated to confuse and divide the alien forces. Queen Jira observed the humans from her high tower, her many eyes following each maneuver. She had faced countless species, conquered countless worlds, yet these humans were unlike anything she had seen. Their ships were small, their numbers limited, yet their confidence and ingenuity made them appear invincible. They are relentless, she murmured, and clever beyond measure. How can flesh and bone achieve this? Her advisors looked uneasy. Your Majesty, they are humans. Unpredictable, yes. But perhaps exceptional? Jira's gaze sharpened. Exceptional is not enough. They must face me. Let us see if their courage matches their skill. Back aboard the Resolute, Elias studied the orbital map. The Citadel's defenses were dense with energy barriers, patrolling drones, and automated cannons. To most species, the path would be impossible. Humans did not see impossibility. They saw opportunity. Prepare the boarding party, Elias ordered. We are going in, not to destroy, but to engage directly. Intelligence and courage are our weapons. Mara's eyes widened. Captain, the Queen herself is on the surface. We will be in her territory. This could be dangerous. Danger is where humans shine, Elias replied. Every species fears it. Humans embrace it. That is why we survive, why we succeed, why we endure. The boarding ships descended toward the citadel, moving with precision and care. Alien drones fired relentlessly, yet humans adapted instantly. They used the environment, gravity fields, reflective walls, and narrow corridors to their advantage. Every move was a lesson in improvisation and teamwork. Inside the citadel, humans encountered the first major obstacle, a patrol of elite Xerian warriors. Massive, armored, and confident in victory, they assumed the humans would flee or panic. They were wrong. Split into squads, Elias commanded. We do not overpower. We outthink. Every corridor, every obstacle, every challenge is an opportunity to adapt. Humans moved like shadows, using their small size and agility to evade attacks. They disabled the warriors' weapons, trapped them without harm, and advanced steadily. Each member of the team trusted the others implicitly, a bond forged through countless battles. Loyalty and coordination made them more than a fleet of ships. They were a single living force. Queen Xira watched the humans through her surveillance feeds. Incredible, she said softly. They do not fight like predators. They do not dominate with force. They survive, through intelligence, courage, and cooperation. No alien species behaves this way. How can this be? Her advisors shifted nervously. Your Majesty, perhaps they are not only clever. Perhaps they are humans. Jira's eyes flickered with a mixture of fascination and disbelief. She had dismissed humanity as fragile, insignificant. Yet every move she watched challenged that belief. Deeper into the citadel, the humans faced the next trial. A chamber filled with deadly energy traps designed to test precision and courage. A single misstep would mean destruction. Most species would hesitate, calculate, and delay. Humans acted. Observe the pattern, Elias instructed. Notice the rhythm. Timing is our ally. Move together, but independently. Trust your instincts and each other. One by one, the humans advanced, stepping over beams of energy, sliding under barriers, and leaping across moving platforms. The chamber tested speed, reflexes, and intuition. Humans passed where others would have failed, not because they were faster or stronger, but because they adapted. Mara reached the final platform and paused. "Captain." "One wrong step," and Elias smiled. "One step at a time. Trust yourself. Trust the team." Together they crossed safely. No casualties. Every human aboard was unharmed, their courage and ingenuity intact. Queen Jira's many eyes widened. They survive where others perish. They do not rely on strength alone. They use intelligence, bravery, and trust. This is not just skill. This is spirit. The humans moved into the heart of the citadel, approaching the chamber where the queen awaited. It was a vast hall, walls of shimmering metal and lights that pulsed with energy. The humans stepped carefully, aware that every move was observed. Elias stood at the forefront, his posture calm, his expression composed. "Your Majesty," he said, "we do not come to conquer. We come to demonstrate that humans can meet any challenge, overcome any odds, and endure where others fail. That is our nature." Jira studied him carefully. She had expected fear, hesitation, maybe even surrender. Instead, she saw courage, calm, and unwavering resolve. Humans did not bow before power. They faced it, adapted, and advanced. "You are unlike any species I have faced," she said. "Clever, fearless, and loyal to each other. You defy expectation at every turn. How can flesh and bone achieve this?" Elias inclined his head. "Your Majesty, humans survive because we do not accept limits. We face danger with courage, adapt to impossible odds, and trust in one another. That is what makes us strong, not strength alone, but spirit." Jira's gaze softened. She had always believed that dominance, fear, and control were the ultimate tools. Humans showed her another way. Their victories were not born from power or terror. They were born from ingenuity, loyalty, courage, and moral resolve. The queen realized that she had underestimated humans not because they were weak, but because she could not comprehend their strength. They were a different kind of power, unpredictable, clever, and unwavering. Elias turned to his crew. "Today proves what I have always known. Humans thrive where others fail. We survive, adapt, and overcome. That is why we are human. That is why we endure." Mara nodded, her eyes bright with pride. "Captain, they are beginning to respect us." The queen herself, she sees something different in us. "Yes," Elias said quietly, "she sees human spirit. Something no empire can ignore, control, or destroy. And that is our greatest strength." The humans had faced trials, threats, and overwhelming odds. They had adapted, outsmarted, and endured. The queen, who had dismissed them as fragile legends, now faced the undeniable truth. Humans were extraordinary. Not just for their skill or courage, but for the spirit that guided every action, every decision, and every victory. For the first time, Queen Jira felt a strange mixture of respect and uncertainty. She had underestimated a species she had thought insignificant. Yet humans were more than survivalists. They were thinkers, warriors, and bearers of a spirit that no empire could crush. The stage was set for the final confrontation. Humans had proven their ingenuity and bravery. They had earned attention, respect, and perhaps something more. A place in the galaxy not as myths or legends, but as a force even the greatest empire had to acknowledge. And in the quiet moments before the next move, Elias and his crew prepared. They had survived the impossible, faced the most dangerous empire in the galaxy, and demonstrated the essence of humanity: courage, intelligence, and an indomitable spirit. Queen Jira would soon learn that dismissing humans as fragile legends had been a grave mistake. She would stand before them not as a conqueror, but as a witness to a force she could not predict, underestimate, or ignore. Humans were no longer merely legends. They were reality. And reality, as the galaxy would soon learn, was far more dangerous and extraordinary than myths. The heart of the Jirian citadel pulsed with energy, a fortress that had never known failure. Towers of glimmering metal reached into the sky, and every corridor was defended by elite warriors and advanced technology. Yet for the first time in decades, the alien empire faced something unpredictable, something it could not fully control. Captain Elias Kor stood before the entrance to the throne chamber. His crew flanked him, calm, prepared, and alert. They had survived impossible trials, navigated deadly traps, and outmaneuvered the Empire's finest warriors. Every step had been calculated, every move a demonstration of human ingenuity and courage. "Captain," Mara whispered, "this is it. The throne room." "The Queen herself awaits," Elias nodded. "Remember, humans do not fight with fear. We fight with intelligence, courage, and loyalty. That is why we survive. That is why we endure. Let's show them who we are." The doors to the throne chamber slid open. Inside, Queen Jira stood, her many eyes fixed on the humans. The air was tense. Advisors fell silent, and even the hum of the chamber seemed to pause. The humans did not flinch. They stood tall, unwavering in the presence of the most powerful being in the galaxy. "You have survived," Jira said, her voice low and commanding. "You have navigated my defenses, overcome my trials, and faced my elite warriors. Yet, you are still here, alive, unbroken." Elias stepped forward, his expression calm, his voice steady. "Your Majesty, humans survive because we do not accept limits. We face impossible odds with courage. We adapt where others fail, and we trust in each other when the path is unclear. That is the human way." The Queen studied him. She had seen fear, hesitation, and desperation countless times in her encounters with other species. None had matched the humans' calm, their determination, or their ability to endure and overcome. "You speak boldly," she said. "Many species would bow or beg in my presence. You do not." Elias inclined his head slightly. "We are human. We do not bow to fear, we face it, and in facing it we find opportunity, courage, and strength. That is what sets us apart." Jira's eyes flickered with a mixture of admiration and disbelief. She had dismissed humans as fragile legends, but she had seen their ingenuity, their courage, and their loyalty. She realized that humans were not just survivors, they were something entirely different. "You have proven something unusual, Captain Elias Kor," the Queen said slowly. "Your people are clever, adaptive, and brave. They survive where others perish. They fight not only with strength, but with intelligence and heart. I underestimated your kind." Elias nodded. "Underestimation is common. Humans thrive when others fail to predict our actions. That is our advantage, and it has kept us alive for centuries." The Queen paused, considering. "Your victories have not been through domination or cruelty," she observed. "You do not destroy where others would. You do not kill unnecessarily. You think. You adapt. You endure. Your people are extraordinary," Mara whispered to Elias. "Captain." "She's acknowledging us. Really acknowledging humans." Elias smiled faintly. "Not just acknowledging. She is beginning to understand." The Queen took a step closer, her gaze intense. "Tell me, Captain, why should the Xerian Empire respect humans? You are few in number. Your ships are small. Your resources limited. Why should we see you as equals?" Elias's voice was steady, unwavering. "Because humans are not measured by numbers alone. We are measured by our ingenuity, our courage, and our spirit. Even when outnumbered, we find ways to survive. Even when threatened, we adapt. And even when challenged, we endure. That is why humans are respected. That is why we survive. That is why we endure where others fail." Jira's eyes softened. She had always ruled through fear, intimidation, and domination. Yet the humans stood before her unafraid, unbroken, and unwavering. Their courage was not reckless, it was calculated, intelligent, and principled. "Your people are unlike any other I have encountered," she admitted. "They defy expectation. They thrive where others perish. They possess a spirit, rare in the galaxy." Elias bowed slightly. "We are human. That spirit has carried us through countless trials, and it will continue to carry us. That is who we are." The Queen took another step closer, her eyes meeting his. "I have dismissed your kind as legend. I have assumed you were fragile, weak, and insignificant. But standing here before you, I see that I was wrong. Humans are not fragile. Humans are formidable. Humans are extraordinary." A ripple of surprise moved through her advisors. Never had the Queen admitted such an assessment of another species. Never had she recognized courage, intelligence, and spirit as qualities worthy of respect. Elias nodded. "Legends are often misunderstood, Your Majesty. But humans are real. We exist, we endure, we adapt, and we face the impossible not with fear but with determination and ingenuity. That is our strength. That is our way." The Queen studied him carefully. Her many eyes reflected a mixture of respect, awe, and realization. For centuries, the Xerian Empire had conquered worlds, crushed rebellion and assumed superiority over every known species. Yet here were humans, small, seemingly fragile, but capable of achieving what her empire had not predicted. "You have proven your kind is worthy of attention," she said finally, not because of numbers, strength, or technology, but because of spirit, courage, and ingenuity. "Humans, you're exceptional," Mara whispered to Elias. "Captain." "She's saying it. She sees it. She finally sees us." "Yes," Elias replied quietly, "and now the galaxy will see too. Humans are not just survivors. We are a force to be respected, even feared when necessary. But respected first, always." The Queen took a deep breath. "Very well, Captain Elias Kor. You and your people shall leave my citadel with honor. You have earned it. But know this, humans have captured my attention, and that attention is not easily lost." Elias inclined his head. "We understand, Your Majesty. Humans do not seek unnecessary conflict. We seek survival, adaptation, and understanding. But when challenged, we will face it with courage, intelligence, and loyalty. That is what it means to be human." Jira stepped back, her eyes lingering on the humans. "Leave my citadel. Leave my space. And know that humans have earned a place in my consideration. You are formidable. I will not forget this day." The humans departed the throne chamber, their hearts steady, their spirits high. They had survived the impossible, faced the most powerful empire in the galaxy, and earned the respect of the Queen herself. Every move, every decision, every act of courage and ingenuity had proven the essence of humanity. Intelligence, bravery, loyalty, and moral strength. As the Resolute lifted from the citadel, Elias looked at his crew. "Humans," he said quietly, "we have done more than survive. We have shown the galaxy what we are capable of. Courage, ingenuity, and spirit, those are our weapons. And no empire, no matter how powerful, can ignore them." Mara smiled. "Captain, we've become more than legends. We've become reality. And reality is far more extraordinary than myth." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Legends inspire, but reality endures. And humans endure like no other." In the distant stars, the story of humans began to spread faster than any legend. Across planets and sectors, species whispered of the audacious, clever, and courageous humans who had faced the Xerian Empire and survived. Some feared them. Some admired them. But all knew one truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. And high above, Queen Xera contemplated the humans' departure. She had expected myths and legends. She had expected fragile creatures to fall easily. Instead, she had seen courage, ingenuity, and a moral strength that even her empire could not rival. "Perhaps," she said quietly to herself, "humans are not only survivors, they are something greater, something extraordinary." The humans returned to their fleet alive, unbroken, and more determined than ever. They had proven the impossible was possible, that ingenuity could overcome strength and that spirit could triumph where fear and force failed. Across the galaxy, the whispers grew. Humans, once dismissed as fragile, were now recognized as a force unlike any other, a species whose courage, intelligence, and loyalty could challenge the mightiest empires. And the legend of humanity became reality, leaving the galaxy in awe. The Queen dismissed the human warriors as legends no longer. Standing before them, she realized that humanity's strength was not in their weapons, their numbers, or even their courage alone. It was in their spirit. And that spirit, no empire could ever control. Humans had arrived. They had endured. They had inspired. And the gala,